Hello and welcome back to 9 Years in China and Beyond. And I'm your host, Kenny Boston. Just here to rant and rave and talk about a little news coming out of China. Now, nothing I'm reporting right now is groundbreaking news or anything that's happening right now. There's no wars going on or anything. But I got a few things I want to rant about, just a little bit. Stuff I've heard in the last few days. It's taken me about a week to kind of get some ideas, for this video. So let's just see where we get. Just sit back and talk with me for a few minutes. Remember, if you like the channel, hit the like and hit the subscribe buttons. This is a two-way street. For me to continue to want to make videos for you, if you're going to watch them, just hit the subscribe. It's free. Alright? So, moving on. What's trending in China right now? Now, the only new thing that I've heard that's new was yesterday that there was a radiation leak in Inner Mongolia. And China was sneaking people in with the hazmat suits and all that kind of stuff and trying to clean up some radiation. The one thing I did find out, it was in a mine somewhere. So who knows what kind of strange nuclear things are going on inside that mine. The flooding has subsided a little bit. It's this time of year they always get rain, but the storms have subsided a little. And like Hong Kong's back to normal. I talked to some friends last night. Hong Kong is kind of back to normal. Everybody's working. So that's all good. There is a lot of things going on, but none of it's brand new news. I did see some videos, and I thought about some things myself about China loves to say that they are being green. They're environmentally friendly. Right. Don't believe that for a second. Do you know that China averages, in 1 week, they average 2 new coal plants? How environmentally wonderful is that? Coal smoke is awful. I've lived in a coal city before. I've been in another city where the smoke from coal and when they burn the fields at the end of the year gets all on your clothes, and it's really nasty for a couple of weeks. Things that China doesn't like to talk about, things that China doesn't want you to know about, things that don't make it to the news. Remember, I've been there, I lived it, I've done it. Now, just a while ago, I was talking to my little Chinese daughter, and we were talking about jobs and how hard it is to get jobs. Remember, and basically what's going on, China sets out these new rules, like she likes to teach English, but you can't, after hours, right now, it's not legal to make money after hours teaching kids. They want the kids to have this is right now, this year, they want the kids to have their playtime right now, and they don't want the parents spending money because they could be spending that money having more babies. Instead of one, if you save some money, you can afford two, right? That's their thinking that's going on. Crazy. When I first went to China, they had the one-child policy. Okay? And everybody knew about it. Hu Jintao was still president when I first went to China. Then, a little later, when the one-child policy was going on, they were taking lots of fertility pills, hoping to make 2 babies. If you had twins, there was nothing they could do about it. Then later on, they said, all right, if you live in the farming province, you can have another baby. Then a little later on, y'all just have 2 babies. Now, it's went to 3 or more. China needs babies. China needs the population to grow back. So people are waiting later and later to have children, get married, or even think about getting married. I have many of my students that are still single in their early 30s. They've already passed the leftover stage, sheng yu, and may not ever get married. And this mentality going around China is driving them up the wall, because China's getting older, kind of like Japan, whatever, and they need people to make babies. All right. Well, let's get something started. Let's see what happens. Well, it just so happened the newest news going on is that the last here recently is certain cities and provinces are wanting to give money to people if they'll get married and start a family. And this is under the age of 25, if I remember right. They'll give you 1,000 yen. Well, that's only like $138 American. If you want me to marry my girlfriend or whatever, you're going to have to, we need money. We got to get a car and a house and all these things. And that $1,000 is not even going to go through a year of diapers. But the whole idea is that they're thinking about doing this, they're willing to do this, is going, oh my God, it's getting bad, right? Let me get a drink here. My mouth is really dry today, guys. Sorry. And another thing that they don't talk about, and I know this is for a fact, and you can do a little digging and find out the same thing, is we will never ever know how many people died as a result of COVID-19. I don't even know China really knows, but anything that they report, if China reports a number, you can multiply that by 10 to 100. It's just they want to cover everything up. They want to hide news from the people, and that's a whole different video almost. But it doesn't matter. If you live in northwest China, you might not know what's going on in southeast China, because China doesn't want their people to know that everything there has to be a Shangri-La. Everybody has to get along together. All right? That's the idea. So anyhow, they're not talking about how many people really died during COVID, but you can look and find pictures of these people waiting, bodies stacked up on the sides of the road, waiting to get into a crematorium to get burned up. And they say, well, only a couple thousand people died. Bull hockey. They died by the grandmas. People died by the thousands and thousands and thousands in China when that was going on. I came back in the summer of 2019, and it was later that fall that COVID had started slamming the world, and by the turn of the year, COVID was rampant everywhere. Well, during that time, see, here's one thing I know, because I'm lucky, I got a few connections. My girlfriend's father passed away, not related to COVID, but her father passed away. It took them, I think it was 2 days, possibly 3. It took them 2 days to come get his body. So imagine if your father or Aunt Mabel or Uncle Joe or whatever, they died. You had to wrap them up probably in a sheet and stick them in a corner for 2 or 3 days, waiting for somebody to come get the body. That kind of tells you there was a hell of a lot of people dying, and they were doing this around the clock. The crematoriums were going around the clock, burning bodies. See, there's things out there that they just don't want you to know. So they need people to continue making babies. They need to catch up on this population that did get hurt. So they're desperate. And the economy is having a hard time. All this flooding, there's no telling what's going to happen with the crops this year. There may not be any crops this year because the flooding is so bad. But it subsided a little bit. I don't know about any new storms going on, but it has subsided a little. And my friends in Hong Kong, they said that they're back to normal. So anyhow, there's lots going on. But China would rather not let you know about it. Isn't it funny how the news still gets out? If you're a Chinese citizen, when you see something, like a body floating down the river, or anything that you think is pretty cool, and you take a video or a picture of it, you post it on WeChat, post it on Weibo, which is like Twitter kind of. It's only going to be up for about 30 minutes. Then they're going to take it down because anything like that is considered news, and the only people that can report the news is the government, is the CCP allowed news. Now, isn't that special? And plus that, you can get into trouble for posting this non-news and getting it on the internet. Guys, there's something going on over there every day, and it's hilarious. They're talking about, when we mentioned this environmental friendly thing, 2 new coal plants a week is bad. But that's not all they do. They want everything to look perfect when there is a picture taken of it. And anytime they do landscaping over there, I've seen this a couple times. They do some landscaping, and as soon as everything's done, they go and paint that area that got landscaped green again. I remember when I was in Xinjiang, they had worked on putting some netting on the sides of some hills for erosion control. They take these metal cable nets and they put them in the ground. But you go back and you plant some grass. But while the grass is growing, you're going to paint the mountain green so it looks normal. Trees downtown, I've seen this at least once or twice, but within the same week. Can you imagine city officials, government officials, or whatever, they go to like the Chinese version of Hobby Lobby, and they buy up all the little artificial, the leaves and the leaves that look like they're on a stem. They buy up that stuff and they go start stapling. Imagine this, they're stapling leaves onto real trees to make them look like they're fresh and lively. It's ridiculous. They do this. So anyhow, a little bit of ranting and raving about what's going on over there right now. There'll be something, probably the next day or two, something else new. But just remember, guys, whatever you see on TV, whatever you read about China, it's probably a hell of a lot worse, and probably a lot worse than what I'm telling you. I'm just here doing a little bit of commentary on things I've seen during the last week. So anyhow, you have a great day, okay? Do your best. Do whatever you got to do. And don't hate the Chinese people for anything, all right? They are blissfully, I'm not ignorant, they're blissfully happy not knowing what's really going on or not being told, all right? Let's leave it at that. So you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Don't forget to subscribe.